for, and it's just a very interesting and unique way to approach.
We've seen it a million times.
Okay, let me just hang on one second.
Steve Bannon himself.
Hang on one second. Let me give hang on. Final word to Gillian, because I know you have to go. So Gillian, respond to that. Then I'm going to get a Cenk and then to Carrie. Yeah.
Steve Bannon himself is so worried about the income inequality that's going to be fueled by giving tax cuts to the wealthy, and so worried about the debt implications that he said on the record that he thinks there should be tax rises for the wealthy. I think that's where many American heads are right now. And I'd be really curious as to how Trump weathers this going forward. And I'm sorry, I do have to jump. I do apologize. Great conversation. I've learned a lot. Thank you.
So the conversation is starting about where all of these tariffs and a lot of things that are going on right now. And listen, we have our issues with Cenk. I certainly do, especially when he gets this goofy look going on right now. But Cenk does torch these MAGA, not her, she's leaving. These MAGA, I don't know what these things are anymore, these NFTs. I'm sure this girl probably used to vote on the left often, but she acts like Trump has the better plan for America, but really it's for Israel. I mean, really? So, you know, all of these traitors, they make me sick. I'm so sick of looking at these people because I don't trust what's going on in the government, and I'm not supposed to. And that's what this channel is about. I question Biden's government, and I question Trump's government. But this is Cenk is going to torch these women. Cenk is going to light these women on fire. He's going to destroy them and what they have to say. It's worth looking at. I mean, he's doing some weird stuff too, but it is worth looking at.
Gillian, great to have you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Great talking to you, Gillian.
The Trump tax cuts
No, I got to get in there.
Americans.
This is a lot of nonsense.
We'll say goodbye to Gillian, and we're going to carry.
Cenk, do you like paying more taxes?
Okay.
Cenk, do you want the Trump tax cuts
so
to go
listen,
away?
Can I just regulate here and actually give truth and reality to this nonsense propaganda?
Why is it fair that Vietnam is charging us 90% in tariffs and we're not charging them the same? President Trump's actually being very...
Probably because we don't get anything from Vietnam, bro. Like, what the freak are we buying from what? Like, gauze? Like, what are we getting from Vietnam? Like, what? Like, there's more to the story.
Hey, Carrie, you want a giant corporate tax cut, don't you? You both want a giant corporate tax cut. That's what this is about. It's all a giant ruse. You're not going to hear anything about tariffs after they pass that tax cut. This is not populism. It's the exact opposite. Okay, you want it, right? You want the $4.5 trillion tax cut for all your corporate buddies, right?
I do.
And you're trying to disguise that as populism?
I want it for all Americans.
Of course you do. Not for you, for the giant corporations and the wealthy. That's what the tax goes for. So let me just back up and explain all of this, okay? So number one, Kerry originally started talking about national security. That's always the excuse that they use. Biden used the same excuse. He said, oh, the CHIPS Act, it's national security. We have to make the chips here at home for semiconductors. Yeah, there's some truth to that. And there's some truth to protecting manufacturing here and for national security. But what do they use it for? Biden used it to shovel over $50 billion in subsidies to the donor class. Now, Trump is going to use it for $4.5 trillion in giant corporate tax cuts where they're going to take it from 21% to 15%. Steve Bannon is right about that. All populists, both on the right and the left, are right about that. Even if it was true that these magical things like these tariffs are going to last for years and years, no, they're not. After the tax cuts, you're never going to hear the tariffs again, okay? But even if that were true and they were to raise $6 trillion, well, okay, great, because we have a $37 trillion debt right now, and the populists are the only ones who actually care about it. The establishment Democrats and Republicans, and now Trump, and also in his first term, now in his second term, are going to add and add and add and add. So if you're worried about the debt, why would you do $4.5 trillion to the richest people in the country? Why are you taking it out of our pockets, putting it in their pockets? Trump already took the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. Now he wants to bring it down to 15%. These tariffs are nothing but a distraction and a squirrel, so he can say, "Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not going to add to the debt."
So the thing is, Cenk has rights. He does have that right. But is there a plan to cut the taxes for the American person? Because if you could do it for the corporations, because what's going to happen is the corporation is going to get the tax cut. They are going to get the tax cut. But then they also might raise the price on the valuables, on the goods, on the product. Because that's the part that they're bracing us for, okay? You know, it's going to be a little hard, but it's going to be okay. Well, but the same way how you're going to give them cuts for taking a bit of a hit, okay, I respect it. But what are you going to do for the American citizen? Are you going to give them cuts? What's going on with the IRS? With the I thought he was going to end the income tax, because that's where the tariffs would start to actually work. Somebody probably thinks I'm insane when I say this, but no, that's really where it works. So for me, I feel like that this is still just a plan to tank the dollar so we can go into a digitized system. But let's let Cenk finish up.
All my corporate donors, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. If you were actually serious about being populist, you would say, okay, look, no matter what you think about tariffs and whether you think a more strategic approach would have been better or a blunt instrument like this, we can all agree that there's no reason to give away $4.5 trillion to corporations. You cannot make the argument that that's a populist position. That is a giant, giant, giant giveaway. And I can't stand it. And Batya, the way that Wall Street works, and believe me, I'm no friend of Wall Street. Hold on.
Well.
The way that Wall Street works is, why does the stock market go down? It's not because it's a cabal and they get together and they're like, should we punish Trump? No, the price of aluminum goes up when you do the tariff. So what does that affect? For one of the things that it affects is beer, because the cans are made out of aluminum. So then I read a story today about how both on the Canadian side and the American side, they're worried about how the price of beer is going to go up. And also true of energy, so the price of gas is going to go up. So when that happens, the shares of those companies, beer companies, Coke, oil companies, et cetera, they go down a little bit because they know they're going to sell less because their prices are going to be higher and the economy is going to be hurt by it. They have that normal reaction to it. I'm not the guy who thinks, oh, stock market's the bellwether and the only thing that matters. No, wages matter. But this doesn't actually get us higher wages. It doesn't get us paid family leave. It doesn't get us anything that helps the average American. Instead, he's going to hurt the economy real bad because he's doing it in such a blunt way. And then he's going to use it as an excuse for his giant tax cuts that are going to go to all the corporations and all the donor class. And then afterwards, you're never going to hear the tariffs again. You're not going to hear the gold card. You're not going to hear a Doge. You're not going to hear anything because the whole...
He's right. He's right. The thing is, because, again, if the corporations cannot feel the hit, why should the American people feel the hit? Where's the... And look, believe me, I'm not one of these, the government needs a such and such. It's like, yeah, but y'all are, isn't this supposed to be for the American people? We're doing some sort of thing. And I don't hear the part where the American person benefits. I simply just don't. I think that it's assumed. I do think it's assumed. And everybody claps. But I don't hear the blueprint where we say, now also we're going to raise the minimum wage. Since we're doing this and people are going to take a hit, but it's supposed to bring back manufacturing. If we are producing enough in this country and it brings back manufacturing, then we should be able to raise the minimum wage. Or somebody will say, well, we got to wait for that. But the corporations don't have to wait for their tax cuts, which is fine if they get them for me. But, hello, I just feel like there's a part of the story that I'm not really hearing the blueprint for.
Point is that giant giveaway to corporations, not to the average American.
Well, I'm glad you got your talking points. Geez. Oh, you know what, Cenk? You can just write a check back to the U.S. Treasury.
Stone cold reality. You want to help your corporate buddies, don't you? Why do we have a corporate tax cut? Carrie, why do you want a corporate tax cut?
Yeah, I'm not even going to waste time on this woman. Because, like, what she says, because then she goes on and says, oh, Cenk wants to raise taxes. It's so baffling to me. She says to him, you got your talking points out. They don't have anything else to say. This is a problem. And I was MAGA. This is a problem. Because he's not wrong with what he's saying. We don't got to like Cenk. He's been acting up lately, this, that, and the third, whatever. It doesn't matter. The facts are the facts. Where's the part of the plan where it comes to help the American citizen? I'll let her talk a little bit longer.
If you're such a populist, why do you want a corporate tax cut?
Americans. I want the Trump tax cuts to continue for all Americans.
Corporations are not Americans.
I'm in Washington. It's so typical that the left always interrupts, but I'm here in Washington, D.C., Cenk, okay? I'm watching how they're abusing the American taxpayer. President Trump is standing up for the American taxpayer. We're cutting the waste in Washington, D.C. At the same time, remember, the Democrats have... Sadly, they used to stand up for the working class. They don't care about the working class anymore. Look at all the wealthy donors who donated to Kamala. They're not for Trump anymore. They aren't. And he cares about the working men and women. I have lived, and I've been all across this country. I've lived in parts of the Rust Belt before where towns are just boarded up factories that haven't seen any work done in them for decades. We are going to bring back manufacturing and jobs for the American man and the American woman. And we're going to do so very quickly. This is
Even she doesn't know how. She looked to the left. This weird looking. Okay. Carrie Lake, what she just did there was terrible. We're doing government waste. What the hell does that have to do with the tariff blueprint? I'm not hearing the last part of the blueprint. I'm hearing talking points actually coming from her.